when Tupac got shot in Vegas, right? From your point of view, can you take me through that entire day from your point of view? Because you was the first person on the scene when Tupac got shot, and you was there when he was taking his last breaths.
Okay, so just a little background. So I was a sergeant, which means I've got a group of about 12 officers that work for me, and we're assigned to the Strip. Now, we're a bike squad. When I say bike, I'm not talking about motorcycles. I'm talking about bicycles. So, which is actually the best way. You've probably been down to the Strip. You know, the traffic, you can't get many places fast in a car. There's too much traffic. There's also a lot of foot traffic. So a bike is really the best way to get around down there. So I was a sergeant. I'm on a bike. The sergeant usually would ride alone, and then the other officers would ride in pairs of two. And then we would have a prisoner transport vehicle that, you know, if you make an arrest, they'd come by and pick your guys up. So that, I mean, obviously you're on a bike, so they would do that. So I was working swing shift. Shift starts at 3. We knew it was a Tyson night, so it was going to be busy. There was another squad working, a double coverage squad, because it's Saturday. It was a Saturday night. So we knew it was going to be busy. I mean, just Saturday night on the Strip by itself was busy, and then you make it a Tyson night, and then it was September, so not real hot, not real cold, good night for people to be out playing. So it was busy. So what had happened is it was kind of it was a little bit busy earlier in the day, but things don't get really cooking until usually after the fight. So, nothing really out of the ordinary early in the day. We had heard about the fight in the MGM where Tupac, beat up Anderson. But I got to tell you, it really, at that moment, didn't mean much. It was like, we talked to security, it's like, hey, there was a fight. Everybody's gone. They all left. No one needed to go to the hospital. No one's wanting to press charges, sticking around. There's really nothing for anybody to do. It's like one of those things, hey, everybody left. It's see you later. So that was it. But the fight, they had the video. They kept the video of that incident. So the fight happens. I got to watch the fight, which is cool because I got to watch all of Mike Tyson's fights back in the day, being a sergeant down there on the Strip. So he fought Bruce Seldon that night, and it wasn't really much of a fight. Seldon went down in the first round, and that was the end of that. But afterwards, you start getting calls, things happen, fights breaking out, people pulling guns and stuff on each other, but there hadn't been anything real serious happen. So I was on my bike outside of the MGM, and when we've all got our radios, our police radios. So just so everybody knows the way it works, when one cop speaks on the radio, all the other cops can hear it. We can all hear each other. And then there's a dispatcher in there too. So about 11 o'clock, I hear, and you start to recognize like the people you work with, their voices as opposed to other people's voices. And you just kind of, your ear goes more to when they speak so you can hear what's happening. So, night was going along doing its thing, and all of a sudden, 2 other officers came out on the air and yelled that there were shots fired at the corner of Koval and Flamingo. So they were up in a parking garage. So they were about 5 floors up, so they can kind of see what's going on.
Hold up, y'all. No, this is Chris Carroll, and he was the first responder to the Tupac Shakur scene, and he's about to reveal Tupac's last moment alive because he makes it clear he was dead before he actually arrived to the hospital. So he actually was present for Tupac's last moments alive, and he's about to reveal, describe, and detail every single thing. So you guys seriously do not want to miss this video, and you guys seriously do not want to skip this video. So once again, I want you guys to watch the video fully and listen thoroughly, man, because this one is super interesting, man. So drop a like, my people. Drop a like and subscribe. Once again, this is Chris Carroll, and you guys do not want to skip this video. Enough of me talking. Watch the full interview and listen thoroughly. And I'm gonna shut up and stop talking. Check it out.
But they don't actually see the shots because they're in the garage, but they hear them because they're right there. That at the time was the Maxim Hotel. I think it's a Westin now. So they come out in the air, shots fired, and they say there's like 6 vehicles fleeing from the scene. So all the 6 vehicles take off towards the strip. Now they don't know. No one knows, like, who's the shooter, who shot, where did the shots come from? Are these guys victims of the shooting? Are they the shooters themselves? I mean, they don't know anything except somebody's shooting. You know, it turns out there's 14 shots, so in a very short period of time. So very quick, loud, hard, violent shooting. So they go out to take off after the cars. So you got an entourage of cars that's leaving, kind of hauling away from there, and they're heading towards the strip. So they go to try to catch up to them, but they're on bikes. The other guys are in cars, so they can't quite keep up with them. But there's also traffic, so they can't really 100% just step on the gas and lose them either. So they follow them. They're following from a distance, and they're putting out in the air, "Hey, we're in pursuit. We're trying to catch up to these cars. There's like 5 of them. We don't know what's going on." So that entourage of cars, and as it turns out later, so Tupac's car is like right in the middle of that entourage. So they had hit, when they left the scene, they're trying to get out of there as fast as they could. They had hit a curb and blown out both of the right-hand side tires of their vehicle. If you look at some of the crime scene photos that are on, you can even find them on the internet. If you look at the rims of that car, his rims are smashed into the point where the tires went flat. So he hit the curb hard. So as they head to the strip, and they hang a left on the strip, which is not far away. It's only like 2 blocks to this, maybe 2 blocks to the strip. So they hang a left, which sends them directly towards me. So they're heading towards me, and I'm heading towards them. They're heading southbound, I'm heading northbound. So we're coming at each other. And in my mind, I was kind of thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. I don't really have any way to stop these guys. They're on, they're in cars. I'm on a bike. They're already running from the police. So I don't know what's going to happen when I catch up to them, but we'll see what I can do. So when they got to Harmon, which is another street that butts up against the strip. Right now, there's like city center there. You have the Cosmo and all that. Well, that wasn't there at the time. But so right at Harmon in the strip, they go to hang a left on Harmon. The whole entourage does. Well, they're going too fast. And their tires are blown out. So when they go to hang a left in the intersection, they kind of spin out. Well, they don't kind of spin out. They spin out in the intersection, lose control of the vehicle, and the whole entourage comes to a stop. Now, at the same time, I'm sliding in on my bike. So this isn't really something like I pulled up on. We literally run into each other. So I slide on my bike. As soon as everybody stops, their doors pop open, and you get like 8 guys all of a sudden standing there. And there's kind of like, I pulled out, I don't know what's going on. I pulled out my gun, trying to yell at everybody to get on the ground. There's kind of some compliance, but not complete compliance. It's like, I'm yelling for everybody to get down. Some guys do, some guys don't. They're kind of looking at each other. It's a tense moment right there. They're kind of looking at each other like, do we listen to this guy? Do we not listen to him? And I thought for sure it was going to be a shootout. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be in the middle. We're literally in the middle of the strip. And I just thought, I'm going to be in so much trouble. I'm going to be in a shootout in the middle of the Las Vegas Strip. Could this possibly happen in a worse place? You got, besides vehicle traffic everywhere, you got people on the sidewalks. This is before where they had the pedestrian bridges. So anybody crossing the street literally had to cross the street. So you got a lot of people out, and it's a chaotic mess. So as I'm yelling at everybody to get down, I'm waiting for the shots to ring out. Well, fortunately, that never happens. There's no There's no shots. So everybody's out of the car, but I look and there's one guy still sitting in a car. And I'm like, oh, this is probably the dude who's going to take shots at me. That's why he's sitting in the car. I can't see his hands. God knows what he's got going on in the car. I don't know. So I had my gun in my hand. I approached the car. And when I approached the car, I could see it's got bullet holes. There's the handle of the car. It's got bullet holes all around the handle, tight grouping of bullets. The passenger's window is shot and broken, and there's also bullet holes in the windshield on the side, the right side of the windshield, but on the windshield. So it's had a lot of gunshots. So I tried to pull open the door. At first I couldn't get it open. I think what had happened is the bullets had damaged the mechanism for the door latch. So I yanked on it a little bit, and now Suge Knight is running around. Well, Suge Knight had been shot in the head, and what had happened is his scalp was penetrated, but not his skull. So he's literally got blood flying out the side of his head, but he's running around like nothing's happening, like he's fine, like he doesn't even feel it, he don't even care, and the blood is shooting out the side of his head. So he comes running up on me, and I point my gun at the guy's huge. These guys like 6'7", 400. And he's huge. So I point at the gun. I'm like, hey, man, back off. So I finally, the door popped open. But what had happened was, as it turns out, it's Tupac inside. Well, he's leaning against the door. So when I pulled open the door, he kind of fell out with the door, kind of slumped out with the door as I opened it.
Man, this story is crazy, man. Like, while he's telling the story, I'm like picturing everything, like even placing myself in the situation. Like, you can tell that this was a very, very, very tense situation, because remember, the Mike Tyson fight just happened. That in itself, had so many persons, so many crowd. Then the fight with Orlando happened, and then Tupac was in the middle of everything. So you can tell the crowd was hot, with the car running away from cops. The suspension, the tension, and everything was just crazy, man. Everything was just crazy. And the story, how he's telling it, man, like, I'm telling y'all, man, that situation, like, that moment, like, man, I don't know if there's a word to describe it, man, but that was super crazy. But also, this is one of them reasons why I do not believe Suge set up Tupac, man. Because the police made it clear that he literally had blood running from his head. It didn't penetrate him enough to kill him, but he still had blood running from his head. And I just don't believe that Suge orchestrated all of that. A person can say he orchestrated it and that was an accident. Yes, that's a perspective, man, but I don't know, man. I just don't really believe Suge orchestrated that whole thing, man. I can be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. Let me know your thoughts and perspective on that. But as you guys heard the police, Suge was definitely in need of help. But it seems like, I'm not sure if he was panicked or he was just trying to see the state Tupac was in. I'm not sure. But he definitely was having blood running from his head, and he was running about the place, man. Super, super crazy thing, man. Like, super, super crazy situation. But he's far from finished, man. He's about to get into the Tupac situation, like the gritty of the Tupac situation. And I seriously do not want you guys to miss that, man. Like, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I do have to talk. I do have to do my review of it, because that's the policy of it, man. That's really why I interrupt these videos. I do apologize for it, but that's how this is how I have to do it, man. So once again, man, I don't believe Suge Knight set up Tupac, man. I do not believe it, man. Seriously do not believe it. But as you guys heard, he made it clear that the police was actually close by when the shooting happened. Sometimes I wonder if they wasn't in the parking lot and if they were outside, if they still would have shot Tupac. I don't know. I don't think so. But then again, they still could be like, F it, man. The cops are there, but we're going to get Tupac tonight. We're going to get him right now. And they still do it. But I guess we will never know. Because once again, he made it clear that the police that were close by, they were in the parking lot. that was by the avenue that the shooting took place. So I'm saying if they were actually on the avenue itself, would the shooters still shoot there? I'm not sure, but probably they would have gotten another chance, because remember, they were driving and they were stopping at stoplights and all of those stuff. So let me know your thoughts and perspective on that. Enough of me talking. I want you guys to check out the rest of the interview and let me know your thoughts and perspective. Also, man, remember to drop a like, my people. Drop a like and subscribe.
So I grabbed him with my left hand and took him down to the pavement. I got a gun in my right hand, and Suge Knight's still running up my back, and I'm still pointing the gun at him, saying, I'm thinking, this guy, if he jumps on my back, I'm in trouble, because, he's a huge guy and I'm already outnumbered. I mean, the whole situation is just bad, bad, bad. So, Suge is yelling at Tupac. He's yelling, "Pac, Pac," and he's yelling at him, and Tupac, I can tell right away he's in bad shape. He's bleeding out of his mouth and nose. He's got multiple torso hits. There's a lot of blood. There's so much blood, I can't even tell exactly where he's hit, because there's just, he's bleeding so badly. And he's still alive, still breathing. Because some people, it sometimes comes up, well, why didn't she give him CPR? Well, because he's still breathing. You don't give a breathing guy CPR. So, he's looking at Suge, and he's kind of fidgeting, and he's trying to, you can see he wants to yell back at him, but he can't quite get that breath to yell at him. And so they're looking at each other, yelling at each other. And I looked at him and I was like, you know what? This guy's probably going to die. I could tell looking at him. It was a bad situation. So, most people who are murdered know who their murderer is. And in this case, Tupac was shot probably from 3 feet away. I mean, it's very likely he knows who shot him. So we have something in police work called a dying declaration, and that's if somebody's dying and you can have them say who did it, and they tell you, that's admissible in court. It's not hearsay, so that can be used. So I looked at him, and I'm going, man, who shot you? Who did this? What happened? And he's just kind of ignoring me. He's looking at Suge, Suge's still yelling at him. So, and Suge is definitely very concerned about Tupac at this point. It's very obvious. He's kind of panicking, really. So he runs up my back, and then I look back at him, and for the first time I see there's another bike cop, and he's literally got his hands in Suge's chest, and he's pushing him back. So I'm like, okay, thank God I'm not alone. I mean, I didn't even see the guys pull up, but so then I knew there was other cops there, or at least getting there. So Tupac's fidgeting, and I looked at him and I said, who did this? And all of a sudden, it just in the instant snap, he went from being, trying to yell, trying to squirm, trying to get Suge's attention, to he just went totally peaceful, like he just totally stopped. And you could tell he reached a point where he physically gave up. He physically was like, nope, can't do it, got to lay there. So he'd given up trying to yell back. And so I looked at him, and now he looked at me, and it's kind of the first time he's even acknowledging that I'm there. And I go, what happened, man? I go, who shot you? Who did this? And he started, he's trying to get a breath together, and he's looking at me, and I thought he's actually going to tell me. And, he got his breath together, and he looked at me, and he said, you. And after he said it, his eyes kind of rolled back in his head, started gurgling, blood coming out of his mouth and nose, and he slipped out of consciousness. So that would be his last words that he ever said. So it takes a little while for the ambulance to get there, not a long while. And people always ask me, like, exactly how long did the ambulance take? And I'm like, you know what? That's a hard question to answer. It felt like forever, of course, but I'm guessing probably about 4 minutes. So relatively quick. So when Tupac now he's still breathing, but it's not good. His situation is not good. There's really nothing as far as first aid I can do for the guy.
Man, that's crazy, man. Tupac's last word before dying is F you to the police. No, we know he always hates the police, but it seems like he really, really, really hated the police, man, because Those were his last words. That's crazy, man. To think that Tupac's last word was F you to a police officer who could have identified his killer if Tupac just gave a name or something, man. But instead, he said F you. No, man. Like, as I said earlier, I'm just picturing all of these situations, man. And I'm like, just imagine the tension. Just imagine the suspension. Just imagine the energy. Just imagine the feeling in that specific situation, that specific moment. Like, oh my God, man. Super, super crazy. And as you guys heard, Chris made it clear that Suge Knight was concerned for Tupac. At least that was the type of sense he's getting, that he was concerned for Tupac. The whole time he was concerned for Tupac, man. And once again, man, I just don't believe Suge set up Tupac. I don't believe it. I can be wrong. I could be wrong. But I just don't believe it, man. I really, really do not believe it. And he also makes it clear that when it comes on to the ambulance and the time it arrived, honestly, nobody can tell how quick or how fast or how long it took. Probably the only persons can, tell that are the persons who were driving the ambulances or persons who were tracking it. But, there's no way he can tell how fast or how long the ambulance took, man. But all I know was it was a crazy situation. It was a crazy moment. It was a very, very super, super crazy moment, man. And it's a moment I know that no police officer would want to experience, man. No police officer would want to experience that, man. Because remember, at one point, he was the only cop present. And he said it was around 8 to 10 gangsters, man. So just imagine that, man. Super, super crazy, man. I want you guys to check out the last clip of this interview and let me know your thoughts and perspective.
So the other guys are from the entourage. Now there's, a couple more cops. They're proning them out and searching them. And the situation is still chaotic. And mind you, like I said, we're in the middle of the street. You still got cars trying to go around you, people walking around you. It's a mess. So the ambulance gets there. Well, as soon as they get there, they intubate him. They put the tubes down his throat to try to get an airway going. And they put him in the ambulance, and also Suge goes in the ambulance too, because he's still, got blood flying, and he's just out of control. He's running around. He's everywhere. He's yelling. So he goes in the ambulance. So I grabbed one of the guys who worked for me. I said, hey, jump in the ambulance with these guys, just in case something is said, whatever. If nothing else, you need to be in there because Suge is out of control. So he grabs another cop. So the ambulance leaves with Suge and Tupac and two cops, and they go off to UMC, a local hospital here. That is a very state-of-the-art trauma center. So when they get there, and I later talked to some medical people involved, and they said, when he got there, he was really dead when he got to the hospital. Because they're a state-of-the-art trauma center, they got his heart going with a machine. So he's got a machine keeping his heart going, but as far as real life and brain activity and stuff, there's nothing. So, which is how he stays until his mother, days later, decides to have him removed from life support. So that's what happened at the hospital. I never went to the hospital. I was still out on the scene, with all these other guys in that mess down there. So, I mean, that's pretty much how that went down. A couple of years ago, I did a show. There's you may be familiar with the guy. He goes by Idi Amin. He was in the entourage. Well, I had met him doing a show, and they told me right beforehand that he was there, and they said Idi Amin might have concerns about, he didn't like having a gun pointed at him, and didn't feel good about the situation. And I was like, well, okay, it is what it is. Let's talk. So I thought for sure when I told my story in front of him, I thought for sure he's going to say, no, that didn't happen. This didn't happen, blah, blah, blah. Because people see things differently, especially me and him being at two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. And they're being, years later, stories change over the years and stuff. And I told my whole story. He never interrupted once. And when I was done, I told the story just like I told you. We looked at him and the camera looked at him and he goes, yeah, that's pretty much it. And they're like, you don't have anything to add? And he's like, no, that was pretty much the way it happened. So I was like, oh, okay. So, I ended up getting along with the guy because, and I talked to him afterwards and, there's no bad blood, for us at this point.
Man, that's crazy, man. And I always wonder where the rumor came from that Tupac is gonna make it, because as Chris made it clear, he was dead. He was basically dead when he arrived to the hospital, right? It was life support that was really keeping him going, but comes on to brain activity and everything else, he was gone. Life support was the only thing keeping his heart beating, right? But we always heard the rumor, well, not the rumor, we always heard the story where people were telling them at the hospital that, man, Tupac's gonna be fine, man. They said Tupac gonna be fine. They said he's gonna make it and all of that. So I always question who started that, propaganda, man. Like, who first started it? I feel as if the person said that to make everyone feel okay and not worry too much. But, man, Tupac had a lot of tubes in him. He was bleeding everywhere. Man, it was highly unlikely that he was going to make it. Chris said it himself, man. When he pulled the door and saw the state that he was in, he knew that most likely this man, at the time Tupac, was going to die. It's a very, very sad situation. Very, very, very sad situation, man. He didn't really even get a chance to fight for his life. Not physically, not in the hospital, because when he arrived, he was, as I said, he was basically dead, right? So we got to use this Tupac situation, man, just to teach yourself and remind yourself that it's better to just stay away from some life. Certain life, it's better to stay away from, man, because things can be going good, but you don't know when things can catch up to you, man, because Tupac was having the night of his life. He was having the night of his life, man. Attended the Mike Tyson fight, beat up a ninja, walked off like nothing happened, headed to a party. Like, he was having the night of his life. And just like that, in a split of a second, things turned tragic, man. So, once again, man, just use this situation to remind yourself, because I am included, because I'm human. I'm not saying things don't come at my way where I'm like, anger and, I'm starting to thinking that I'm going to do things to make ninjas know not to mess with me and all of that. But I do remind myself that it's not worth it. It's really not worth it, man. So I implore you guys the same thing, man. Just try and live a good life, a peaceful life. Even if you want to live a low life, just stay away from guns and stay away from gangs and all of that. You can live a low life doing different stuff, man. Like, honestly, like, really and truly, you can live a low life by doing other things, man. So, once again, let me know your thoughts and perspective down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys truly think. Let me know what you guys truly believe. Let me know down in the comment section. Remember to drop a like and subscribe, as it helps out a lot, and it'll be greatly appreciated. I want to say thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I want to say, remember to have an amazing day, have an amazing time. If your day is not going amazing, well, make it amazing right this second. Once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. And as usual, I'm out.